As I remember from what my mom told me, she was evacuated from Phnom Penh to Cambodia and was assigned to a cooperative. But she said that her cooperative was not really that bad. She had something to eat, and the working conditions were also not very extreme. As for my father, he offered his service as a bodyguard to the village chief. He said, "You have to do that. You have to be smart like that to survive." End quote. His parents were lucky. Hundreds of thousands of Cambodians died in the cooperatives my friend speaks of. My friend, who I will call Rhetoric, never lived through his parents' difficulties, but learned of them from stories of their home. During Democratic Kampuchea from 1975 to 1979, Khmer Rouge implemented a program in which Cambodia would become a rural, classless society. This plan deprived people of basic human rights, and 2 million Cambodians were killed in 4 years. Since 2007, the Extraordinary Chambers of the Courts of Cambodia, the ECCC, has been trying several ex-Khmer Rouge leaders for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and in certain cases, genocide. My research question asked how much progress Cambodia has made in developing a collective memory in this period. Though my smear thesis will compare collective memory in different post-conflict societies, I will emphasize 3 themes that emerge from my data. 1, given that 70% of the population is under the age of 30 and was not alive during that time, how has an apathy or attachment persisted? 2, given the personal nature of these events, how has storytelling and the home played an important role in this memory? 3, how is the engagement of this history for future generations politically blocked or distorted with the contemporary regime? I lived in Phnom Penh for 8 weeks, and my methodology included monitoring the Khmer Rouge Tribunal, interviewing members of NGOs and the ECCC, and visiting memorials like the Tulsa Genocide Museum and the Chung Egg Killing Field, and also the Documentation Center of Cambodia. At DC Cam, the Documentation Center, I used the book On Trial, a great resource of information on the court, public opinion, and public outreach. These site visits, interviews, and observations provided me with insight into Cambodian attitudes toward the past. And exploring these 3 themes, I discovered that Cambodia is only in the early stages of developing a comprehensive collective memory that can perpetuate for future generations. My talk hinges on Joe McCormick's idea that individuals can remember events that they did not experience and relate to a wider historical consciousness. And the development of collective memory in Cambodia is significant because, as James Pennebaker writes, it is comprised of the, quote, shared histories that cement individuals' identities with the groups to which they belong, end quote. Though most of Cambodia's population cannot remember Khmer Rouge events themselves, it is important that they develop a shared past with which they can identify. Because such a collective memory is, quote, shaped by all representations of the past, whether conscious or unconscious, explicit or implicit, end quote, Cambodia's collective memory is undoubtedly being molded by personal stories told at home. However, the individual nature of these stories and the undeniable apathy leave this history vulnerable to the current regime's manipulation. The Khmer Rouge, also known as the Communist Party of Kampuchea, took control of Cambodia on April 17, 1975, when they began their forced evacuations into the countryside, during which hundreds of thousands died. Influenced by Mao, Marx, and Lenin, Khmer Rouge aimed to turn Cambodia into a classless, agrarian society. And obsessed with maintaining power, the regime arrested and executed thousands of soldiers from the prior regime, intellectuals, minorities, and suspected traitors. In 4 years, more than 2 million Cambodians died from disease, starvation, exhaustion, and execution. In July, the ECCC finished with Case 2's evidentiary proceedings, of which Q Sampan and Noon Chea are the only remaining co-accused. Originally, 4 cases were to be tried, but due to government restraints, pressure, and financial strains, many doubt that Case 3 and 4 will go forward. My observations, interviews, and documents from DC Camp revealed 3 themes. 1, an attachment-detachment dynamic toward democratic Kampuchea history dependent on each group. 2, the role of the home and storytelling in Khmer Rouge education. And 3, the current regime's roadblocks in the establishment of a comprehensive history. These 3 elements point towards slow progress in the development of a collective memory. Because so much of the population did not live through the Khmer Rouge, they grow apathetic and know about the Khmer Rouge mainly through personal stories. However, this detachment and the divided, individualized memory that results from the storytelling may be susceptible to government distortion. Firstly, most of Cambodia did not live through the tragedies of 1975 to 79. Today, with half of Cambodia under over the age of 18 and around 70% under 30, the majority of the population has grown apathetic or detached from this history. I interviewed an American who has worked with the U.S. Embassy in Phnom Penh for quite a while, and he's mentioned that he's noticed a strange dynamic existing in current Cambodian society. A middle generation that lived through democratic Kampuchea is immensely stuck in this period, and a young generation with no memory and no knowledge. He told me that this young generation doesn't feel a particular urge to learn more beyond the personal account they heard from their parents. Moreover, before the co-accused Khieu Samphan and Yoon Cheo were indicted, Prime Minister Hun Sen initiated a national reconciliation tour in 1998, in which the two former officials presented meager apologies. Khieu Samphan stated that Cambodians should forget the past and, quote, let bygones be bygones, unquote. This tour went around the country and undoubtedly had an effect on the nation's psyche. This way of thinking certainly promotes a level of apathy or disconnect among Cambodians' youth, and it is particularly easy to let bygones be bygones if you yourself do not experience the events. And according to DC Camp Director Yuk Chang on trial, most Cambodians find it hard to believe that Cambodians could kill each other. The very nature of the events themselves promote a disconnect. Moreover, some of them are curious to Moreover, quote, some of them are curious to learn what happened but don't have what could be termed as a political agenda. Others are much more interested in finding justice for the victims and look at the genocide in black and white terms. The Khmer Rouge were always bad and always will be, unquote. My aforementioned interviewee further stated that this generation learns that the fault of these tragedies lies in the hands of a select few, and feels no need to expand upon that understanding. He told me that this was a sign of the general apathy of this generation. Secondly, I also learned that Khmer Rouge education persists in the home through storytelling more than any educational institution. And because this kind of knowledge exists on such an individual, personal level, because there are so many accounts, they are not only difficult to enter into a shared consciousness, but also difficult to perpetuate. Even now with the ECCC, the trial's contribution to a historical record mainly draws upon individual stories of suffering. In my interview with Rhetoric, I learned that until very recently, high school students were not taught this history. He attended primary school, high school, and university in Phnom Penh. On his education at the Khmer Rouge, he stated, quote, as I recall, I don't think I have learned so much from school about the Khmer Rouge. We did learn something, but very little, end quote. And before trial monitoring at the ECCC, he knew about democratic Kampuchea through his family. He stated, quote, when I learned about the Khmer Rouge, I learned from my parents, especially my mother, got upset with the children. She always raised her difficulty during the Khmer Rouge regime. She always complained that when we did something wrong, that we shouldn't, that we should work harder, study harder, because during her generation, she didn't have a nice life like us. End quote. The very act of calling civil parties victims to the courts to present statements of suffering absolutely personalizes the trials, and thus the historical record. I have witnessed civil parties specifically blame the accused for blindness, for loss of family members, for psychological problems, etc. And each of these statements contributes to a diverse historical record. In fact, by June 2013, the court had admitted 3,866 filed civil parties. Furthermore, because so many Cambodians see the trials as a way to ease suffering, the tribunal and its outcomes internalize and individualize this history. In DC camps on trial, villagers' testimonies from Pursat province show this. Here's a quote from 54-year-old Slem So. Quote, I feel so angry about the Khmer Rouge who caused the death of my parents and two siblings. I wish to see those responsible for their crimes tried and imprisoned. In so doing, I could reduce this tense feeling, but not entirely. End quote. With a lack of strong historical understanding, the attachment of a personal significance to the trials can leave the collective memory susceptible to distortion. Lastly, Cambodia's current government has been blocking the development of a history since 1979. Prime Minister Hun Sen and head of the National Assembly, Heng Samrin, both former members of the Khmer Rouge movement, have maintained power for over 30 years and thus have an interest in keeping parts of this history under wraps. While attending court, I noticed that there was much miscommunication. Often there would be disputes resulting from the merging of common and civil law systems, and I wonder why the ECCC was established as a mixed tribunal in the first place. The international national setup of the court was the best compromise between domestic and external poles. Yes, Cambodian participation is important as a way of promoting reconciliation and connecting victims to the process, but international international observers were worried about transparency in a country fraught with corruption. According to On Trial, even now, critics worry that the ECCC is designed in a way that allows Hun Sen and his colleagues to manage the proceedings to suit their own interests, rather than the interests of victims. And so far, that has been the case. In 2009, Foreign Minister Cohen ignored a mandatory court summons to testify as a witness in Case 2, which highlights the government's influence over this mixed tribunal. Ordinary people cannot reject court summons. According to the court's internal rules, any person summoned must comply. However, this obviously does not apply to government officials, and such refusal to take part in proceedings belies contempt for the development of the Cambodian justice system and historical record. Moreover, such exceptions made for officials suggest that any historical record produced from the courts might only be the record preferred by the current government. In his interview, Rhetoric even stated that the government has been influencing this historical record. He stated that most Cambodians know only a bit about the DK period and nothing before and after, because the government wants people only to focus on that period. He added, quote, "That's why the school curriculum, they don't really talk about it. And like mass media, they only talk about what happened during the period and who was responsible. Most people are illiterate, so they don't question further what happened before and what happened after," end quote. He said that most Cambodians just feel and know the sufferings of their families. So in a way, the government perpetuates this storytelling-based collective memory so they don't have to answer unwanted questions. In conclusion, I realize that Cambodia is only in the early stages of developing a collective memory that will foster a cultural identity and last long after the passing of the Khmer Rouge generation. Because the youth remains detached from this history, and because this history has thus far persisted through individual storytelling, the collective memory that I speak of is susceptible to distortion by the current government. But I'm optimistic. Not only has DC Cam recently published a nationwide Khmer Rouge history textbook for high schools, but according to Rhetoric, the continued lack of transparency of the current government is inspiring students to do their own research online and fight back through social media. During the general elections on July 28, 2013, Hun Sen's party was surprised by the relatively small margin by which they won. This year, mounted on their scooters, armed with social media on their smartphones, the kingdom's young people voted for change. Hun Sen won this round, but I believe if the apathy shown thus far continues to subside, changes for this generation will begin. I'd like to thank the Anselm Fund, SIRF, staff, Timo, Professor Cohen, my mentor, my trial monitoring team, and my parents for taking me to Cambodia for the first time.